9/11 victims and their wives and their families and everything. Also, Charlie Kirk. Have a moment of silence. If everybody please bow your head, we'll take a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to welcome all committee members, Denny Collins, Howard Thompson, Bill Winters, and non-voting member Gary Davis, and of course, Chairman Tom Cry. First of all, we'll go ahead and get started on the approval of the minutes from the May 14th meeting. Could I have a motion? Mr. Thompson with a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second with Mr. Collins. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, right on into the agenda. We'll start with A, Bradley County Judicial Complex Kitchen fire update. Sheriff, you want to jump on that or whoever? Anyone got any questions for? Yeah, well, we were just watching that. It looks really nice.
Did you get those drains raised, put down, the drains? You should have called Lisa.
Any questions referencing the maintenance? Yes, Mr. Thompson.
I know one thing we're gonna have to do, and nobody wants to face this, but we've never had enough, money in that maintenance line item for that jail down there. It's always run short. And I don't know what we do if the sheriff requests more money for it or whatever, but there needs to be more money put in maintenance. And like now, we've got problems there, and we're going to continue to have problems because the building's getting older, and y'all need some help down there for maintenance.
Any other questions? Sheriff, one thing you mentioned, the pipes going bad and you're having to cut the water off on the whole jail. Are you replacing the pipes that go to units, or how's that working?
Okay. I can tell you the one that we have today that's waiting is in the administration part. We have had them inside the jail, and I walk down, and you never know until the water starts leaking. You figure out where it's coming from. So this was a copper pipe. I was just telling the mayor. I went and looked at this one. This is a copper pipe. They tried to put a Band-Aid on, and it didn't work. So they've got to come back. I actually was going to do it yesterday, but I couldn't work it out with them and the court schedule. So I kind of have to work around everybody's schedule to get things repaired when I have to turn off all the water for the whole facility. So it kind of puts you behind the eight ball dealing with things anyway.
That's what I was thinking though. When you're doing the replacing the pipes, has anyone mentioned a cutoff valve somewhere where you're not having to cut the whole
We do,
building
but there wasn't a
off?
whole lot of valves in it. So we can cut water off to different areas, but it's some of the valves that we put in since.
That's what I'm
When
talking
the
about.
building was originally built, not many valves there to cut the water off. So we have found some that I didn't know was there, but we have added some valves as well and to upgrade, right?
And some of the valves aren't working. That's what we've ran into. Although we have shut off valves to some of the pods, they have failed. They not work.
And I guess
so-
that's over time too, right, Cassandra? The water, the buildup, maybe whatever's in the water over time, if the place was built 21 years ago, same valve has been there, probably may have a problem, and just the age of it and the water itself may have caused problems.
Yeah, it's just where I'm thinking, I experienced it at my house lately, so I know the cutoff valves are very important if you can get them all where you need to have them, where you're not shutting off the whole water system every time you need to work on the water line.
Like, for instance, the kitchen, we have shut-off valves to the kitchen. So there's different, like, 3 different shut-off valves to the kitchen. Luckily, we were able to shut it off, but when we went to turn the water back on, the shut-off valves then started leaking. So then we had to turn all the water back off and replace those valves. But luckily, we were able to really include that in our fire system. So we were able to get that cost.
And you,
in saying it,
go ahead.
you know, don't be surprised if we have to come back to you, because I don't know where we're going in the maintenance budget. Hopefully, nothing else goes bad, but it could very well too. So I may have to communicate with y'all as to what, you know, where we're at in the budget as we move forward.
How much is this cutting out of your budget, this extra maintenance stuff?
Well, I'm really surprised at the amount we've had to spend already. What'd she say? How much have we spent this year thus far? We've spent 94,000 thus far. Once we're up to date on where we got to go.
Is
So,
that 10%, 20%, 30% of your maintenance budget, or what?
it's around 50%,
Okay.
including everything that's for the equipment and the repairs. So about
Okay.
50% is what's gone. So that's thus far.
Any other questions? Move on to item C then, CTAS analysis.
Yeah, and that goes back to, as you look at the federal contract we have and the state inmates and what they pay, I don't think across the state, nobody is getting the monies that it requires to spend a day per inmate. So I asked CTAS to come in and do a study, and they hadn't finished it yet, but they're in the process of coming up, which hadn't been done in a number of years, how much it costs for us to house an inmate per day. Now, I can tell you the state pays you $41 a day. And when I took office in 2018, then one of the state representatives sent me the paper that a statewide study was $73.18 back then was the average across the state. But I didn't have anything particularly for our facility to tell me how much it's cost. Now, and we need that for different reasons. I think we can use it in our negotiations with the federal contract, and we can use it with the state, saying, because I think the state may be playing to, they take our inmates not to the beds, but to the personnel they have. If they're down number of personnel, they'll leave them in the county jails for us to manage and not take them because they don't have the personnel. They may have the beds, but they won't overload themselves. It's hard because they put it back on the county jails to manage inmates they don't want. We don't have that luxury. So I want to look and see what they pay versus what it costs. And I think you need to know, and I need to know for any negotiations, the mayor needs to know. But we need a true number, and I can tell you it's a whole lot more than $41. But you added to that with the Tier 1 accreditation, they give you, what, $6 more supposedly now. But the federal contract, I will tell you, is $64. But the county just beside us, who were just able to give the big pay raises, gets $90. So my idea is either pay us or keep the inmates. Because we don't want to be second tier to anybody, but if you're paying other counties more than you're paying us, and they are able to give their employees big raises, then keep your inmates. But that's my opinion. I think they got to get in tune. It's a long process, this federal contract, and I've asked to renegotiate. I think 2022 was the last time we renegotiated, and it was 50 some odd dollars then, got it moved up to 64, but I think the federal people need to go up, is my opinion. I will run it by y'all and get your opinions and what you want to do once we have all the figures in place.
Are we using those 2 pods that we built for federal, are we using that for federal?
No. I mean, the federal inmates that we get are scattered out. There's not any pods dedicated to federal, simply because the numbers you have. What you have to do is look into the future. What are we going to do in the future? I don't say we have to do it today, but when I took office, if you remember, and I said it a lot, 583 inmates the night I took over in 2018. We got 510 beds throughout the facility, including the workhouse beds. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think we need to be looking to the future. What are we going to have to do to keep ahead of things instead of letting things catch up to us and then falling back? What are we going to do now?
You know, we built those for a purpose, and that was to help finance
But-
the cost of the jail.
But the numbers caught up with you.
And the numbers caught up with
The
us.
numbers have caught up
Yeah.
with you, and you stay overloaded.
And same with the state prisoners, you know, it's good to have them, good not to have them.
Christy's going to give you some numbers. I think she's got some things to share with you too about the numbers of what kind of inmates we have.
Absolutely. Right now, we are housing 416 inmates. 111 of those are state inmates. So if you take the Tier 1 accreditation with the number of state inmates we have, at the new cost that they're giving us, it would be $5,217 a day per state inmate, which would end up being $156,510 over the month. So we have in the past been a facility where we housed inmates that were state inmates that had up to 3 to 4 years to serve, and now we have become a facility that are housing state inmates that have 15 years to serve, 20 years to serve. And what that is it shouldn't be happening, because then they come here and get familiar with our systems. If they've been career criminals, then they show young people that have just been put in there for less than 1 year. So let's say 364 days, they show them the ways, and they become people that return to our facility rather than going back into the community.
And let me say one more thing about the state, and I'm going to bring another topic into it as well. They passed a law on July the 1st as to where we got $3 additional for Tier 1 accreditation, which we're accredited. The jail is Tier 1, and we were supposed to get $6 a day. So I kept watching the board bill, and we got July's back, and we didn't get paid. So my idea is if the law passes, they should pay attention to pay us. So hopefully they go back and make that right. But run alongside that with the litter grant, and the mayor knows this as I've talked to him about it. Last year's fiscal year, not this year, last year's fiscal year, the litter grant, we went through the whole fiscal year and never got a dime. We never got reimbursed. We had to use all of our money out of the budget, and usually the idea is at least every quarter you're getting reimbursed. We never saw a dime. So we had to wait till the end of the year, and I'm going to let Camille tell you where we're at. Camille, you here? We'll come up.
We have been reimbursed for part of 24-25, and the sheriff just signed the last invoice for 24-25. Hopefully we'll get paid. Who knows? We don't have a contract for 25-26 yet.
Even though we're doing the work, and people want the litter people out picking up, but the deal is if you have a grant from the state, I would hope they would pay us as we go. And I've contacted them, and we got the first payment for the last fiscal year. We still haven't been paid for the whole last fiscal year. They've never sent us a contract, so we're operating this year without a contract doing the same work until we get one.
Who's dropping the ball over in the state?
I've contacted, I've talked to Representative Howe. I gave him a call. He actually checked into it immediately and got back with me and said they should get you paid pretty quick. So I don't know if that department's had a big turnover, but it seems to have lasted a long time, you know, going into one fiscal year to the next, because even the year before that, correct me if I'm wrong, we had trouble getting paid then. So, not all grants in the state are like that. Our SRO grant, I think, comes through good, but it comes through Department of Safety. It comes through a different mechanism in the state than does. So some grants we get paid for in a timely manner, some we don't. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mr. Winters?
Well, why is that? Why, who's the department that's
It was
behind
Department of
getting it?
Transportation is where the litter grant is through. So Dan is chair of the, and I contacted him and he definitely got on it. He responded to me, said, I think it will be moving. I've contacted them. So we did get one payment for the last fiscal year, but we still hadn't been paid the full amount.
And who, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
is there a bursar with the state that Commissioner Howell or Senator Howell actually connects with? Who's next in line when you get more people
No,
than you should get?
as
you
far as
should-
you're asking me who the commissioner is there, I
Yeah.
don't know. I can tell you that, Representative Howell is
Yeah, and he's
over
excellent.
the,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, but when
state representative.
when he gets into it, there's an echelon above him that he has to
Sure.
work through.
We'd have to check.
And,
I don't know the
I-
answer to your question.
Because
I don't.
it's not fair for you to get more and more people and then not give you less money at the same time.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Collins?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just interested, the $41 a day, has that been static for a number of years, or does that change year to year?
Well, it was 38 for years. I think it was $38. They moved it to 41, and then they give you additional monies for getting accredited
Sure.
in the tiers, and we've been to tier 1 so far, which gives us so it actually you get 47. We're supposed to get 47 a day.
Does the accreditation, I'll call it a bonus, does it change routinely, or has it been static? I guess I'm trying to get a, no, ma'am, the pay, the $6.
It was 3 and it went
Okay.
up to 6. And that's what he was telling you. In July, we didn't get paid the new
Right.
amount, so we've reached out to them supposed to be reimbursed for that extra.
And I know they played on accreditation for years. I think Milo was sitting here, and he even called me when they went over to the county commissioners meeting, statewide or whatever it was, and they just need to pay us when they put something in effect. You know, I expect the money, and would never known if I didn't tell them to watch the board bill to make sure we got paid.
Any other questions? Repeat that about what the county next to us getting a lot more money per day for
$90
food.
per federal inmate. They're getting paid $90 per federal inmate, and we're getting paid $64 per federal inmate.
Are we looking into that?
I have asked them for the paperwork to renegotiate, which is lengthy and long, but I will be renegotiating and I will touch base with y'all as we go. I do believe we need to ask for more, and how much more or what we would be satisfied with would be up to y'all and the mayor. And I will pass that along.
Why do they get so much more than we do?
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. We negotiated ours in 2022, and whether they have just negotiated theirs, I do not have that. But I just believe we're this close, and they're able to lead the way. So what I do is we need to jump up there with them.
Was there anything that we need to do
No,
to
not until the
expedite this a little bit?
The contract is lengthy, and I think Cassandra can vouch with me with this, that we sat down and had to go through that contract, and it probably took us 2 or 3 weeks to go through everything they need. They ask you for the world, negotiate their contracts. But I've asked for the paperwork, and I've assigned 3 people within the agency, including Christy and a couple more, to get on it. And Camille, I'm going to include her, and make sure we get everything down as fast as we can. And then I'll communicate with y'all and the mayor to see what's reasonable. But I think we'll have to ask for an amount.
So if you please keep us informed on that, it'd
Yes,
be
sir.
appreciative.
Yes, sir.
Referencing that section, we'll move right on into, I guess we're on ETCI tier.
Basically, what And the pay increase effective July 2025 went from $3 to $6. Even though July's invoice did not reflect that, we have written them, and they have wrote us back that they will be seeing the remaining balance.
Any questions there,
Who is
Mr. Winters?
they? Who is they that
It is,
communicate with?
well, I have their name.
I only name, what department there's evidently continual mismanagement, and they're part of getting you what you need,
That comes through Department of Corrections.
Department of Corrections. And we have,
I was gonna use personal name, but
no, I don't,
one thing that
I
is
did.
unique about this all is on us. So these are the, they come tech support where they check all of our paperwork to make sure all of our things are mock audit, let us know what they are, and then have the audit.
but if you, Mr.
Go ahead, Mr.
if you're doing all the work to be tier one, and then they're not rewarding that work with the funding, somebody's not doing what I think all of us want.
That we spoke of all are doing at the moment. I would. But they've assured us.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on into F, TBI 24 census.
In the crime stats were just released a couple of weeks ago. And I kind of take pride in this, even when I was over criminal investigations, and I always paid attention to burglaries. Where we at? How many have we solved? What are they doing? Because I was always taught that your house is your castle, and that's one of the most serious crimes there can be. So as you see, burglaries cleared in Bradley County, 60.9%. All the agencies around us have their crime stats now listed on the TBI website. It's at the bottom of the page. I would invite anybody to go and see where Bradley County stacks up against anybody around us. And that's not a compliment to anybody but the people that you have working there. And burglaries is a big deal when you solve 60.9%, and you drop down to aggravated assaults, 96.2% solved. The total crime solved in Bradley County, 78.1%. I can tell you that that's going to rank toward the top, right at the top of the state of Tennessee. And you're welcome to go look yourself. I'll mention the counties and go look around us. We got some of the best people there is. We investigate, and I think they know from the top to the bottom they're expected to do it. And keep those in mind for the next slide. I'll show you the people that have left our agency since the first of the year. And those people have went to different departments. Knox County Sheriff's Office, now PD. Civilian position. Kaysville PD, we lost 2. McKaysville, where they were paying $53,000. I don't bring up police department. I'm not going to compare us to police department. Jenny Ross wanted the forestry service. I lost 2 SROs to Hamilton County right before school started, and those SROs come from both Walker Valley and Bradley, and they were both females. And it makes it tough, and I've been scrambling and working with Dr. Cash to make sure we have people in place to protect our most precious asset. And then you have the bottom is corrections, some went to McMinn County, some went to Chattanooga Police Department. McMinn County got some, Sevier County got 1, 2, and some left. If you see the total, 13, and then plus 8, the plus numbers are the people that left on our terms. Either for whatever reason you were dealt with. So that's the total numbers that have left the sheriff's office since the first of the year. And a lot of that has to do with the next slide. And there it is. I just want you to know, and I've got to share it with you. Because not only do I represent the taxpayers, which I want to get every dollar we can get out of it. But that's where we rank with the counties, only counties, no police department. I didn't include any police departments or it could have been worse. But I included the counties around us. Our Blount County is not around us, but near our size. And that's what the starting annual salaries are today. Hamilton County went and jumped theirs up, and Ray County done the same. So they went to the top. I'm not thinking we can get there. Be honest. I'm a realist. But we've got to work toward getting at least to the middle or above average and keeping good people. If you saw the crime stats, please compare them to anybody else, because I believe we actually led the way with less pay. And I want to reward those people, and I'll always stand here and argue for those people, that we continue to look on how do we keep these people that serve you. And I want people that can do the job, that are qualified, and I hope you feel the same. And it's tough. I know it's going to be tough to get to do. I know we got to find the money, but I think we need to angle toward that and set our goal toward at least getting toward the middle or upper of this slide.
Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
I know you've run numbers on there, that's what we're talking about.
You know, I've been listening to other agencies, and I hadn't really run numbers. But I'm thinking, you know, here you go. Let me start out where I think. I listened to the cities the other day, and I did. They done the pay study, and they were 8% behind. And I think they're about to raise their pay, which is going to hurt us again. And I don't compete against them, but I don't want to lose my people to them either. And then they talk about longevity pay, and they're doubling their longevity pay, which we have a step plan in place, which is not much. But we've got one in place, and they're going to double their longevity pay. Let me start by saying we ought to double that step plan at some point down the road. We need to raise it from 0.9 to 2% and give people that have been there for years a little boost somewhere along the way. I don't want to only start a starting pay, but you take care of your people in the middle and on up. And then you look at what can we do, and you start looking at different figures, but I don't know. I really don't know as I stand here. Don't hold me to anything. But we can sit down and get you the numbers, or we can start looking at different ways of what we can do. But I think it's got to be done over a period of time if you want to keep good people. And I want to keep good people because I want people to be able. I don't think that we should follow the trend. I think we ought to be able to set the trend. We're a conservative community who believes in backing our first responders, and it's a good day to be saying that at 9/11. But I think we truly ought to back them in the time when I ride off in the sunset and I'm not somebody else's sheriff. I want them to be equipped with the best people and the best that we can possibly give them. And I think you feel the same way too. What we can possibly give them. And you know there's limitations. I know there's limitations. But all I ask is work with me. Let's sit down at the table and come up with a common plan as to we move forward for everybody at the Bradley County Sheriff's Office.
Mr. Collins.
Sheriff, how many patrol officers do we employ
I
currently?
mean, post-certified officers,
Yes, sir.
110. 110, 120 post-certified. That's courts, that's SROs, that's patrol that are on the shift. That's everybody. And then you got the corrections division, which we raised. And don't get me wrong, when I became sheriff, corrections officers were making a whopping $29,000 a year. And now they're at 41. So have we improved? Sure we have. We've got better. Is it where we need to be? No. But we have got better, and I think patrolmen started at 34, and now we're, 45? So we have got better. But you see everybody else is moving away, and we don't want to continue losing people.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, comments? I'll be anxious to sit down, or us sit down, or sit down with whomever, Sheriff, when we do get some of those figures, because we will not start budgeting again till what, April? Marlon, is that about when we'll start talking budget again?
Yeah, I think we got a
Definitely
plan.
need to have all that before we even think about starting budgeting again, because, you know, this year's budget's pretty well set, but we'll go from there.
I'm not gonna go out here in left field and just go reckless. What I'm gonna do is be reasonable. I've got to, like I said, represent both sides. The people have me here to, number one, watch their money and get the most out of it, but they also have me here to keep law enforcement the best it can be. So I'm walking a tightrope and trying to make sure that we satisfy the needs of this community, the needs of this county, and also be fair to everybody else. Because I know nobody wants to pay anymore. I understand that, but we've got to let people know and educate people, and make sure they know where we're at, and make sure they understand where do we need to go, and let them be a part. You have constituents you represent, and run it by them. But I think I need to educate people. That's my job. And where we at, and I have to, whatever they say is what I have to go along with. That makes sense?
Thompson?
I know it's tough for us sitting up here thinking about what we're gonna have to do. This county's growing. The schools is growing, sheriff's department's growing. The more population you got, the more prisoners you're gonna have. It just happens that way. And I don't know what'd be me or ever who's here at the time, but something's gonna have to happen. I know growth, of course, we depend on growth a lot. And we see all these houses being built and people moving in, and you wonder why growth won't take care of the growth of our population, you know, would take care of the tax part of it, but evidently it don't. And so this is something something we don't like to think about, but we got to think about. And that's the only way that you're going to get the money is through this commission. And we don't like to talk about taxes, and nobody does. But if growth don't take care of it, well, it's going to take something besides growth to continue to do what we need to do and keep our sheriff department up, or schools up. And it's just it's a decision we got to make.
Fully agree with that, Mr. Thompson. We're going to have to take a hard look. This commission, and I've said it several times to several people, sooner or later this commission's going to have to bite the bullet and make some really hard decisions in 26. And I've sold people in town and several people around town. We're looking at some major decisions in the year 26. You're going to have the schools coming and asking for a school. Of course, we got to take care of our emergency people and other things in the county and the growth and everything. So I'm just pointing it out to the city and to the public and to the county if anybody's watching. But the county commission, we're going to have some super serious decisions to make this coming budget year. Anything else? Any other business? Sheriff, you got anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. I think we should commend you all for being good stewards of our county money. Through my years, you come forward, shared needs, but you've also been very sensitive to the fact that we want to be low tax. We want to go through these, but there's no more precious, valuable asset than our children and our adults that are providing in our community. And whatever we spend in your department makes it possible for life to go on in our community in a way that we want it to. I've had to call on your officers occasionally, and they're there immediately. I was out of town not long ago, and one of my alarms went off in my house. I mean, there was an army of your people, an army of city, because I'm a city dweller. And it's just great to know that we have the soldiers at the door taking care of us, and you all are that. So I think we want to do what, and I think I speak for all of us here, we want to do what we can do and do it when it's appropriate. And you've been very candid in sharing all this. You've shared us the truth here of the reality of where you are.
And I
So
think that's my responsibility.
Sure.
It's
Thank
not
you, Mr.
easy, as Howard said. But I've got to represent my people, look at me and say, Sheriff, what are you going to do? Well, I'm their leader. That's up to me
Right.
to step forward and say, folks, here's what I think we need to do. How we're going to do it, I don't know. I think we plan ahead. We start looking now as to what we're going to have to do. And I think that's fair to everybody. I don't want anybody to have to pay any more. Nobody wants anybody to have to pay any more. Elderly people, I hope they don't have to pay any more. But I hope we can look some way and find something to benefit our first responders.
Anything else? I really would appreciate, Sheriff, if you can get on those figures as soon as possible so we can get us in their hands and so we can start looking.
We will, and I'll lay out different options. What we'll do
And,
is lay out
yeah.
different options as to where we need to be and try to stay. in
Because
the
I
middle.
think it's important that we get on top of it, like you just said, get on top of it now and
Try
start
to stay in the middle of the road.
putting
and
a
I'll
plan
try to stay
together.
in the middle of the road. Yes, thank you.
Any other business? Any communication from the audience? Looking at a fine young bunch of men and women out there. No communication there, Officer Stone?